So here we go with number 17 in my series of video game movie reviews, with the film adaptation of a game that I don't think anybody was asking for. But hey, they made Wing Commander, so what the hell? DOA Dead or Alive is the film adaptation of the long-running series of the same name. Well, not really the same name. The games are just called Dead or Alive, not DOA Dead or Alive. That whole DOA thing was added just for the movie. Don't really know why. I mean, people did refer to the series as DOA because, you know, it's called Dead or Alive, but it was never really in the title the way it is in this movie. But whatever, that's the least of the weird-ass shit in this movie. DOA is directed by longtime Hong Kong action director Corey Yuen, who's brought us such classics as The Legend 1 and 2, Legend of the Red Dragon, The Defender, and The Transporter, and has worked with action heavies including, but not limited to, Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Jet Li, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jason Statham, and now Jamie Presley. We follow, for the most part, 3 characters from the game: Tina Armstrong, Christy Allen, and Kasumi. I guess she doesn't have a last name, I don't know. Played by Jamie Presley, Holly Valance, and Devin Aoki, respectively. They and many others have been invited to a fighting style tournament a la Mortal Kombat, however, without the world-ending stakes. Or so they think. Upon arriving at DOA Island, yep, that's what they call it, they meet the other combatants and, well, they get to fighting. And that's what a lot of this movie is a whole bunch of stylized fighting until the end when we find out this master plan by Eric Roberts' character to take over the world. Well, not really take over the world, he just wants to steal everyone's fighting abilities and put them into himself and then sell that technology to the highest bidder on the black market, I guess. Because, you know, warlords who deal in tanks and guns and, you know, tactical missiles and all that stuff, hand-to-hand combat mastery is really what they're into. No, it doesn't make any sense, but neither does the rest of this movie, so it's okay. This movie is batshit crazy, but I will give it one thing: it does stay in line with the video game storyline, more or less. The game in which this movie's based on, like many fighting games, has a fairly thin storyline. And while a lot of video game movies catch heat for changing the story and tone of the movies versus the games, you have to give Corey Yuen that much, if nothing else. This movie is very much in line with the games that it's based on. This movie is all style, way over substance. And being that, it does look really good. It's not gonna peak the old noodle very much, but it looks really pretty. And I don't mean just all the scantily clad women on screen at any given time. But I mean, yeah, they look pretty good too. No, I mean, the movie overall just looks really good and looks very expensive. The movie itself, the way it's shot, everything on screen, it just all looks really high production. So if nothing else, this is a really pretty movie that does look expensive, with the exception of the CGI. While the practical effects here do look good, the CGI is severely lacking. It is, however, consistent, I will give it that. The 2 glossy, unrealistic, blue screen looking special effects you get in the beginning are the same as the ones you get in the end. And yeah, bad CGI is bad CGI. When it is consistent, it's not quite as noticeable and a little bit more accepted, kinda like it was in the movie Ultraviolet, which, dependent upon your love or disdain for that movie, you may or may not agree with me. Though I will say, consistency or no, the CGI special effects here are lacking. Something that's not lacking is the fight choreography. The movie has really good fight scenes. I mean, they are exciting, they're shot well, everything looks really good. You really feel the punches and kicks. This is a very well choreographed movie, which should come as no surprise given Yuen's background. Either way, I don't want to take that from the movie. The action scenes here, while sometimes ridiculously ridiculous, are pretty damn good. Something that's not pretty good is the script overall. They do attempt to have like a loose story to kind of hold everything together and string all these scenes together throughout the movie, but it is severely lacking. You do better to go into this movie not really expecting a narrative so much as a string of pretty cool scenes to watch, which I know that kind of defeats the purpose of a movie and all, but you know, it is what it is. While the performances here are nothing to rave about by any means, the dialogue is probably the main thing that drags them down the most. Dialogue in this movie was definitely a second thought. The vast majority of it is pretty nonsensical and just redundant overall. There's scenes with like 2 characters talking about the bad guy, and they go something like this.
Donovan is lying.
Why would he lie?
I'm convinced he's hiding the truth.
What? These redundant, nonsensical interactions are pretty much the norm in this movie. Something else concerning the dialogue that's pretty much the norm here is that the vast majority of it is like hyper over-sexualized. Though I will say that that does kind of go along with the theme of the game. We are talking about an adaptation of a series of games that within the settings, you can adjust the buoyancy of the female's memories. Yes, there is a boob bounce option in Dead or Alive. Or at least Dead or Alive 2 on. I really can't remember part 1, but it's there. To go along with all that over-sexualization, you also have the obligatory extreme beach volleyball scene. This scene is in the movie for absolutely no other reason than to pay homage to the actual game that it's based on. Because yes, if you didn't know, while Dead or Alive is a fighting game, there was a spin-off series called Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. All the girls in Dead or Alive get together and play beach volleyball in bikinis. There's also some other dumbass mini games about jumping around on pillows in a pool or something, but this is mostly about hot chicks in hardly any clothes playing volleyball. And of course, they had to reference that in this movie. I won't lie, it wasn't necessarily the most unenjoyable part of the movie. If you're a fan of the games, you will be happy with the roster here. However, my favorite, Hitomi, is nowhere to be seen. But the vast majority of the fan favorites, and some that aren't necessarily fan favorites, do show up in this movie. And I will say that the actors that get to portray these characters are perfectly cast compared to their game counterparts. Everybody here really looks the part, and they all do a really good job playing these characters from the game. Keep in mind, not a lot of story from the games. However, the personality and especially the look of these characters is portrayed here fantastically. This movie has a reputation of being throwaway and pretty damn bad. And I can see why. The performances and special effects are pretty bad. The story's all but non-existent for the most part. And the movie as a whole is really out there and pretty nonsensical. But there's always been something about this movie that I did actually like. This is not a good movie, but it is a fun movie. The movie also has an attitude all its own. That attitude being, I don't give a damn. We're making the movie that we want to make and don't give a damn what you think. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, it's really just fucking out there, but we don't care. This is the movie we want to make and we're making it. And that's what they did, and it kind of works here. Like I said, while the movie is nonsensical and it's just really out there, it does have a constant sense of fun. And that fun, coupled with the attitude, does elevate this one up a bit. It's nowhere near a great movie, that's for damn sure, but it is a good time. And sometimes that's all you need out of a movie. I don't always need the most thought-provoking story ever made. Sometimes I just want to have fun, and DOA does provide that. This is definitely a movie that was made for the fans and nobody else. Having a knowledge of the games that this movie is based on will make the experience better. And despite all of its flaws, it is a good time. That being said, if you're not a fan of this property, then you should probably just stay away. However, if you are a fan of the games, then Dead or Alive is absolutely worth checking out on streaming. This is not going to change anybody's opinion about video game movies. But if you are a fan of those movies and of these games, this one is worth checking out. Just remember that it is kind of out there, and the goal here is not really to tell a narrative so much and just to have fun. So there it is, guys, my review of DOA Dead or Alive. I really don't get why they did that with the name. Just call it one or the other. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Albuquerque.
Do me up.
So what's next in the video game movie review series? What the fuck? It's got like really foggy in here.